Ja, och vi fortsätter på biotech-spåret, and now we're switching languages again because we're welcoming Saniona and CEO Thomas Feldthus. So, please
Tack så mycket.
tell us more about you.
Thank you. So I will do this presentation in English. Thank you for the introduction. So good afternoon to Access Partners and investors, and thank you for having me here. So my name is Thomas Feldthus, and I'm CEO of Saniona. I started the beginning of May as CEO. I am actually a co-founder of the company and has worked for Saniona for about 10 years. I left the company in 2020 in connection with the go-to-market strategy in the United States. Since then, I've worked at board level for a couple of years, and now I'm back as CEO, and I will oversee the new strategy of the company, which is, you could say, taking a leverage of our experience and our capabilities in drug discovery and development of new therapeutics and for out-licensing. So, Saniona is today listed at Nasdaq Stockholm main market. We are a clinical stage biotech company focused on developing therapeutics for rare diseases. We have many highly valuable preclinical and clinical products which provide a multiple way forward for this company. We have a unique discovery platform which will generate a significant number of compounds in the coming years. And we actually will announce the first one next year, and we expect another one next year. In addition to this, we have a couple of clinical assets. First, you have SAN903, and this one we will start phase 1 clinical studies in about Christmas, we expect. And then below that, you have SAN711, which we are completing a phase 1 study right now and will come with top-line data within a few weeks. And then finally, we have Tesomet, which is ready for phase 2b studies and which has been put on clinical hold due to funding problems. And so right now, how we see the situation is that we plan to out-license SAN711 and Tesomet to partners, and then we will keep 903 internally. Many of you probably know the company because we've been listed in Stockholm for more than 8 years now. You may also probably know that we have gone through a major restructuring in the end of April, beginning of May. So during the last 2 years, the company aimed at becoming a fully commercial stage biotech company based on the lead asset Tesomet for rare diseases. And this strategy implied US corporate headquarters and also a US Nasdaq listing. Unfortunately, this strategy failed. It became clear during spring, and therefore this major restructuring. And my co-founder, Jørgen Dreyer, he stepped up as chairman of the company, and I stepped in the company as CEO. After the restructuring, Saniona is now again a Scandinavian company with a Scandinavian cost base. We reduced the cost with 75%. We closed the US office, including terminated the US management. We are transforming this company into what I will see a more cost-effective, focused company which leverages our core capabilities within ion channel drug discovery and development. And it is important also to mention here that the key assets of the clinical programs, Tesomet, SAN711, and SAN903, the value of these programs have been maintained. And this goes also for our drug discovery platform. So now we are focusing on partnering these days with these two of the assets in order to generate funding and making us less dependent on the financial markets. So we have good experience with this model. Until 2020, where I left, we have made a lot of deals in Saniona. And we have generated close to 400 million Swedish crowns for our own development by doing this. And of many of those deals, we are still entitled to earnouts, to milestone payments, and to royalty income from some of these deals. And the deals takes many shapes and forms and structures. We have made research collaboration with some of the largest biopharmaceutical companies in the world, including Janssen, Pfizer, and Boehringer Ingelheim. And we have made smaller collaboration with biotech companies such as Tesomet. We have made spin-outs. So the two companies you just seen, Initiator Pharma and Scandion Oncology, are actually spin-outs from Saniona. And we have capitalized the value of some of this by selling shares when a company like Cadent, which was a spin-out, was sold to Novartis. And also Scandion, the company, sold their shareholding in the company 2 years ago. And Initiator Pharma, we did it a little different. Here we simply distributed all our shares to our shareholders when we established Initiator Pharma. So it was born at the stock market with more than 4,000 shareholders. So the value, we have created value for our shareholders in different ways, by either directly distributing shares or indirectly by ensuring that the company got funding this way. And this is what we plan to go into do in the next couple of years. So what assets do we have? And this is another way to present the pipeline. So we have on the top Tesomet, which has been out-licensed to Medix, and they have conducted a successful phase 3 study for obesity and filed for registration in Mexico. The regulatory process has taken much longer than expected, partly because of COVID. And it's still our understanding that the regulatory agencies is not ready to approve the product at this point in time, but let's see what is going to happen over the coming year. They have the rights to Mexico and Argentina, and we are entitled to double-digit royalties on their sales. So it could be a potential income for us in the coming period. Below that, you have Tesomet, which is developed for the two rare diseases, Prader-Willi syndrome and hypothalamic obesity, and is ready to start phase 2b studies. I will come back to that one later. And then Saniona, which is a new concept for chronic pain, which is where we're completing phase 1 study now. And also this I will come back to. And then finally, San903, where we are ready to start phase 1 studies. And this is what we are going to keep internally. It's blocking an ion channel, which is expressed by most immune cells and also fibroblasts. And it's designed to prevent proliferation, as we call it. Cells are dividing, and also expression of cytokines. So it can stop inflammation, and it can stop, you could say, scarring, fibrosis. It's a very soft concept, a new concept to do that. And we find it very interesting. We have strong data in rare diseases such as idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and also in more common diseases such as inflammatory bowel disease. So a very interesting compound. A little bit more about the two compounds which we are planning for out-licensing. So here it's Tesomet, which is ready to start phase 2b studies in Prader-Willi syndrome and hypothalamic obesity. So we have obtained orphan drug designation for this compound in these two indications. And we have an open IND in the US and also in several other countries. We have obtained proof of concept in these two indications through two smaller studies done in Europe for hypothalamic obesity, which is shown on the graphic on the left. We were the first company really to show a weight loss in this patient population. And these are suffering from have a tumor in the brain which destructs the hypothalamus, and therefore they get very, very obese very, very fast, and nothing really can stop it. And we are the first to demonstrate that, and it was very encouraging data. It was presented in one of the major peer-reviewed papers recently, and also at a conference, and support this program. When we were told the market that we will set it for sale here at the end of April, beginning of May, a lot of companies have contacted us, and they are right now moving into the data room and looking into it for potential partnering. And then a little bit about SAN 711. It's a new concept for treatment of chronic pain and itching. It is designed to modulate very small neurons found in the spinal cord, which control the pain signal to the brain. And by making those more effective, we can stop the pain signal to the brain and thereby avoiding that patients feel these chronic pains. What is interesting with this concept is that by doing it this way, we avoid the typical adverse events seen with painkillers for treatment of chronic pain. And this is like sedation, abuse liabilities, motoric functions, and so on. This we completely avoid by treating it in this way. And we're the only company in the world so far which has been able to produce such a compound. So it's a very interesting new concept. And we will go out here in a few weeks and report for the phase 1 study. And the interesting thing with this phase 1 study is that we are able to do a PET scan on the patients to see whether we get the receptor coverage of the compound in the patients at the level we are looking for. And this is very valuable information for us and for our partners, since they can then go out and see what dose is needed in the patient in order to have a full benefit of the compound. Again, we have significant interest here from potential partners which are now going into the data room. So we are pretty far in the process already after just 1 month out there on the market. So these are the clinical compounds, and you can see we have several assets which we can monetize and actually then generate cash for the company for development, and then by not being so dependent about the stock market. In addition to this, we have a very powerful drug discovery platform within ion channels. And ion channels is a very important class of targets. Some of the biggest products in the world are actually addressing ion channels, and also within CNS. So it's been fully validated, but still it's a huge potential because only 20% of the known ion channels have been utilized for development of new drugs. It's difficult. It's not everybody who are able to do this. We have worked in this field for more than 20 years. We have 20,000 or more proprietary compounds. We have libraries of 130,000 compounds where we have collected data into a database. So we have a huge number of data around this, which has been posted, where we can use artificial intelligence for further research programs. And this means also that we are able to make partnerships around this platform, as we have demonstrated with collaboration agreement with Pfizer, Janssen, and also Boehringer Ingelheim. So also here is a potential income. Besides, we can develop our own compounds. So what does it mean? And this slide is supposed to illustrate this. So when you're working with discovering new drugs for CNS, then it's an iterative process. You start to make a compound, you test it, you make another compound, you test it. And for this, you need a number of different, you could say, disciplines in-house. So you have chemistry, obviously. You have precision biology, in vivo stability, target engagement, translation, and in vivo pharmacology as animal facilities. We have all this in-house. And then we collect for each compound all the data. We compare it to our prediction in our modeling, and we put the data into our database, and then it's growing day by day. and then we design new compounds again and again, and therefore our platform gets stronger every day. And this platform has really delivered several clinical compounds, including SAN711 and SAN903. But those are only the top of the iceberg. Below the waterline, we have a couple of compounds coming out soon. As an example here with SAN-XXX on the right, where we expect to announce a new clinical candidate. And a little behind that one, we have SAN-YYY, where we expect to select a candidate within 12 to 18 months, so about Christmas next year. And those two compounds, they are both positioned for epilepsy, different types of epilepsy, some of them rare epilepsies, which we are particularly interested in. And again, so these are what is coming up in the coming period. In addition to this, we have also partner programs which we are working with. We have a collaboration with Boehringer Ingelheim, where we have recently, within schizophrenia, where we have recently announced that we're going from a full lead to a hit to lead program. Also, we have a joint venture, Cephagenics, which is within migraine, which is also progressing nicely. So, as you can see, we are able to move several compounds forward into the clinics, which can be utilized by ourselves or together with partners. In addition to this, we have a number of programs at the sideline, both at early stage, but also one program which actually is very close to candidate selection and thereby could go into a clinical pipeline. So this means we have, you could say, even that if we out-license Tesomet and we out-license SAN711, we can quite quickly restore our internal clinical pipeline in this company because we have a hen which is able to make eggs. So this is what is different from Saniona compared to many other companies. So jumping a little bit up with Milestones, we will have top-line data from phase 1 clinical trials in a few weeks in relation to SAN711. Here it's particularly interesting to see what coverage we will have of the receptors, apart from, of course, potential side effects. And then also very soon we will complete the clinical program for SAN903, and which means it's phase 1 ready. But it will take a few months in order to start a phase 1 study, so this phase 1 study will probably first start around Christmas. And then we also will select a new ion channel modulator for epilepsy this year. And finally, we expect to make partnerships within the next 6-7 months, maybe 8, for one of the lead assets, based on where we are right now with the discussion on SAN711 and Tesomet. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. An applause for Thomas.
Yeah.
As you described in the beginning, Saniona has gone through what we in Sweden usually call a steel bath, cutting down a lot of your process or your organization.
Yeah.
How come you could end up? How come you could end up in the wrong place this way? That you had to do this change.
I would say I was part of that decision in 2019. So we wanted to go for rare diseases. We had Tesomet as a lead program, and it looks very promising. And we wanted to, as when you're going for rare diseases, you want to harvest the whole value. And by doing this, you need direct access to the United States. So at that time, we thought, okay, we go the whole way. We will set up an office in US. We will list the company in US, and we will make the clinical development going forward in US. That was the thinking. And it did not work out that well. Cost went through the roof, and at the end, the market also turned down, so there was financial problems. And then we sat with a very expensive organization in the United States, which we couldn't fund. and there was no other things to do than just shut it down. So this is how it is. If it could have developed differently, but it didn't. It was painful for the investors. Also for me, I'm a big shareholder in the company. And sitting from an outside, I was a little bit shocked about the situation. So this is where we ended. It was wrong. I would say I would take, next time we do it, we will not do it this way. I will probably do it like Calliditas, where we keep it as a Scandinavian company. And when the time is right, we will set up a commercial office in the US, and then we will take commercialization from there.
But you also took the firm decisions to cut it off. And where you are standing today, how is Saniona doing, you, as you would describe it for the moment?
Excuse me.
Yeah. So how is Saniona doing now?
So we have shut down the organization. So everybody has been terminated in US, which is sad for the employees, of course, and also for the company. And it's not good for the patient either, who were supposed to participate in this trial, but it was necessary.
Yeah.
And but we had to cut back cost because we had a burn rate about 130 million Swedish a quarter, and that doesn't work if your market cap suddenly is down at 130 million. So it was not fundable. The company has a lot of cash, so we can afford it. But it's taking a lot of cash out of the company right now.
But now we're making it a fresh start. So, I mean, what is your situation now in this fresh start?
It means that the first thing is we're shutting it down, and we're going to get control of the cost. And that's what we're doing in this quarter. And we will still have a high burn rate this quarter. But from Q3, it will be a Scandinavian level. So say 70 million Swedish in the base case for the company on an annual basis. And then we're going out, out-licensing 2 of the assets here in order to get more capital in without having to go out to the market, because I really don't want to if I cannot avoid it, I really would like to avoid going out and make a financing round at a share price of 2 crowns per share. That's where we are right now. So this is what we do. We will restore, you could say, also trust in the company. They can see that these valuable assets, that we can do these deals, they can finance the company and get through this. This is where we are. And then, as I said, we have a lot of programs in behind, which means that we will have a wonderful pipeline in 2 years again.
Yeah.
And then you will see Saniona with maybe 3 partnerships on late-stage assets, where we get royalties, it will be taken off our burn rate, and then we have 2 interesting epileptic programs which we are developing internally, and perhaps also the SAN901 program for IK. And then everything will be the sun will shine again.
Sounds like a good outlook.
Excuse me?
It sounds like a good outlook.
That is a good outlook.
Yeah. Also, I have a question here from the audience. Many interesting candidates. How will you secure funding?
Excuse me?
Many interesting candidates.
Yeah.
How will you secure funding? But you also said that you have...
So some of them will be developed together with partners.
Yeah.
So basically what it means is if we were supposed to develop SAN711 ourselves, we will have to... I will make a basket study, but now we will... with 4 different indications just to see where we get the best data. But now if we out-license, then the partner will take the decision, but they will also pay the bills. And then we will get milestones and royalties from that to fund our own programs. And also an upfront payment, I expect. Which can go to fund our own programs. So it will be, because we have so many programs and assets, we can generate cash for some of it and spend it on selected investment which we can afford and where we can bring in value ourselves going forward. So that is our intention.
Yeah. And talking about these partner programs, so you're already in discussions with partners? Potential partners?
Yeah, I mean, we are not on term sheet state. And if I were, I would not say it. I would say the same thing. So we of course, we start the process here in May. I have spent 1/3 of my time speaking with potential partners, with I think 20, 25 different companies or so. We are also at Bio right now. 2 of my best people are at Bio 2022, which is the biggest conference in the world, and I think they have 50 meetings, and most of them actually are people coming to us saying we want to speak with you. So it looks promising. It's a very good start. I'm very optimistic about these possibilities.
Also, you're very, very soon expecting data from the phase 1 trial of SAN 711, right? Yeah. How crucial is this?
I mean, if the SAN 711 phase 1 trial doesn't go through, then the program has no value. This is the way it is in this industry. But I'm pretty optimistic about it because it's still blinded, but let's see. It's going to be unblinded these days, and then we will have it out, and then we can see whether it has a clean safety profile as we expect, and but personally, even more important is that we can see whether we reach the level of drug on the receptors in the spinal cord which we are looking for, because we need to blind at least 50% of the receptors in order to have the therapeutic effect. And this is what we can see here. Both that we get what we are looking for, but also how well it's working. And then it will tell our partners, okay, in order to get the 50% coverage as we are looking for, then you need this dose level. And that is what it is about. Okay.
Also, I read about you that you said that now you will be more opportunistic in your strategic approach.
Yes,
what does this mean?
Because we're still a rare disease company. And it means that you have a drug which is saying, okay, it has 3 different indications, and one of them is rare disease, and then we will take it to develop for rare disease. And the thinking behind this is that if it's a rare disease, then we can take it all the way to the market ourselves. But if you are a company saying, okay, we're also going to out-license, then it's not so much about retaining so much value in the company, but retain so much value in the program. And if a big company will buy it and develop it for common disease, then it's better from rare disease, as a licensor to them. So in this way, we will look more on each program and say, how can we maximize the value of each program right now in this out-licensing philosophy? But we will keep programs also internally, which we are developing for rare diseases. And for instance, the 2 epileptic drugs and also SAN 901 and 903 have all rare disease indications. So we have that opportunity going forward also.
So the strategy is set, and we have a fresh start, and we have exciting news coming soon about your results from the study.
Yeah.
And that's where we leave you for the moment and say good luck and looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much, Thomas.
Okay, thanks.